The 8th ANC Ekurhuleni Regional Conference has recognized branches' credentials after hours of an impasse when some delegates failed to agree. ANC NEC members were deployed to resolve the deadlock. Yesterday, Gauteng ANC chairperson David Makhura called on party members to unite if they wanted to be better leaders. For more on this, we're joined by the director at the Auwal Socio-Economic Research Institute, that's ASRI, Angelo Fick. Angelo, thank you very much for availing yourself this afternoon. So this is nothing new, right? But save for a few features where this particular conference is concerned. We'll get into those in a moment. What does this tell us about the ANC's voting processes? Democracy at play, or are branches given too much power?
So I think that this is, as you've pointed out, an issue that has plagued the ANC not just for this elective conference, but at least since 2009. And we've seen this kind of auditing of branches concern rising in the mid-2010s, very specifically, precisely because of the leadership battles and the ways in which bottom-up democracy is sometimes in conflict with top-down issues of the direction the party is expected to take or that the leadership of the party wants it to take. And so Ekurhuleni is a specific case, I think, where there have been tensions between the regional leadership and the provincial leadership, but also between the regional leadership and national leadership of the party in the last few years. And there have also been internal concerns around the ANC in that part of Gauteng, partly because, the way in which the party has performed in electoral politics recently.
Yesterday, the Gauteng ANC chairperson David Makhura describing the region as divided and holding a conference that resembled a war zone, with allegations that there were people who were actually armed at this conference. Literally, you have people allegedly who were carrying arms, but metaphorically, I do wonder what you make of this, especially when we take a look at the December conference.
So I think the stakes are fairly high. Ekurhuleni is, after all, a space that the ANC recently lost in municipal elections. We have to look very carefully at how it wants to retain power in 2024, what issues affect that, the way in which the Cyril Ramaphosa management of the party, and not just him himself as an individual, but the leadership team that he's appointed, is very keen on restructuring processes in the party to impress voters for 2024. The kinds of scenes that we've seen in Ekurhuleni and that the party leadership in the province reports are certainly not the kinds of issues that I think many people looking to the ANC to see where it changes and how it changes and whether it changes are necessarily going to be reassured by. The current regional leader is electing or is standing for a third term as for the leadership position, David Makhura, and the question is whether or not his re-election or potential re-election is likely to signal to ordinary people that the party is serious about taking a change of direction. And also Ekurhuleni itself used to be one of the top municipalities in terms of the ways in which people felt their money was being spent reasonably, and a long distance has been traveled in the 8 years since that was the case. And so the party has both specific issues in Ekurhuleni, the city, that it has to fix, and so its leadership conference in the region is very, very crucial if it wishes to contest municipal elections after 2024. Its role in the general elections in 2024 will be very crucial because much of Gauteng plays a crucial role in any kind of ANC majority simply because of population size. And then Ekurhuleni is the center of some very specific economic issues that are crucial to the success of South Africa. And so the ANC does, I presume, want to have some kind of control over those resources come the next municipal election.
And on that point, the party has been on a steady electoral decline for several years in Gauteng and its municipalities. Come 2024, could it be that this change you speak of will be too little, too late?
Well, that is the test for President Ramaphosa as president of the country, to turn around what is the ANC record at the national level. And it is the challenge he has as president of the African National Congress to make sure that the leadership conference in 2022 elects people that can be deployed, because he defended cadre deployment at the Zondo Commission just under a year ago. Whether those cadres are able to pull the task together in the very few months left, just over 24, before those general elections, to impress enough South Africans to vote. And of course, Gauteng is the heart of the South African economy, is the heart of the finance industry, and the financialization of the South African economy means that his anti-corruption stance will have to filter down, and there will have to be bottom-up sort of struggles against corruption, and precisely at the branch level, at the committee levels, and at the regional levels, because that's, after all, where cadre deployment issues have often hampered the ANC when it comes to ward councillors, when it comes to local government, and it's often at the local government face that people experience corruption. Now, the ANC is out of power in Ekurhuleni, but it certainly would wish to want to return to power there, because it is the so-called Erotopolis. Many major industries are in the city, and so this is also a kind of symbolic victory that the ANC would want to get back. And therefore, I think there are some crucial internal tensions which this conference has shown up that may not play as well with the voters as both the provincial and the national leadership of the ANC may have wanted it to.
With David Makhura's comments yesterday characterizing this conference as a war zone or resembling a war zone, these issues that we see at branch level, are they at all related to the issues and divisions that we see at the highest echelons of the party? Is it a safe or an accurate characterization that this is a party at war with itself?
Well, I'm not certain the party is yet at civil war level. There are certainly parts of the party and regions of the country in which the party operates where there has long been a kind of process of attrition. We've seen assassinations and political killings, particularly in places like KwaZulu-Natal and Mpumalanga, for longer than this period, at least for the last decade or so. And so what we're looking at here is, I think, the crisis is around access to resources and control over resources. So as the party's electoral returns decline, so the number of people who can benefit in the deployment sector once the party does get into, whether it's by proportional representation or by, direct election in municipal or national elections, once those people, the numbers of people on the NEC list is likely to decline, the contestation for those NEC positions are likely to be very strong, and so local branches are likely to want to support their candidates, and therefore the kinds of branch contestations about which branches do go and which don't, which are accredited and which don't, will become far more, shall we say, highly and nastily contested, precisely because if you have the wrong candidate and your candidate does not get into the NEC, the kind of patronage that that candidate could dispense, should they make it onto the NEC and then make it into provincial or national government, is likely to disappear. And so there is more at stake than simply the ideological battle, but the patronage politics which have marked the ANC for at least the last decade is beginning to kick in now that its electoral returns are declining.
Always good to get your perspective. Angelo Fick is the director of the Auwal Socio-Economic Research Institute, also known as ASRI.